we're gonna just go ahead and hop right in to the game. We got CJM versus Bears versus Wren. I mean, so I got Bears on my mind from the commentary in between. Side there, not MBT, and they've cast out a Galaxy with a Smoltuga on board. That's a pretty dang good start here. That's 2 5s. That's 2 5s. Swinging into.
That's a big turtle. That's a big turtle. You know, I find it so funny, this engine. I love this engine itself. I think that inside of set 1, it was an excellent little advantage engine, allowing your Smoltuga to search something like a Necruff. Very, very powerful card in itself. Love the Fire Puppy. Then Galaxy to immediately turn on the Jets and get into an offensive pressure here. Earth on the left-hand side. And we have a presumably water deck of some sort on the right. We'll see what kind of develops inside of this game.
It's very dependent on what that Smoltuga search. Usually it's searching out a Necruff, but there are plenty other Fire Elestrals in the game that could be used here. It looks like, I believe, our caster on the left, CJM, has played an Equilynx and is using the effect of Nexus. The game looks like it's second.
Holy Forest or a Demeter can do it. But it looks like another Argo has hit the board. These players are loving this Argo innovation, which, you know, I can't blame them. You know, we talked about the Nexus banks being so powerful inside of a deck like Frost with the cards like Bromolinx, and its Earth Nexus form, Equilynx, can take prime advantage of the Scythe of Demeter. Scythe of Demeter is a pretty good card that I think didn't see a lot of play early on in Elestrals, but that heal 2 with having Demeter on the field is strong. It's effectively your way of getting to your Earth Jurtagua by putting on some offensive pressure, which we know Earth loves to do. Or just a nice and standard heal 1, I think, in this case, as the Argo is going to swing into one of these Elestrals here and take down a big body. I imagine it would be the Galaxy, just to get that immediate threat out the way, which does not feel great. And going to take an extra spirit damage here from the Nexus. This Equilynx is huge and hard to out, but nothing the little Laurels can't take down. Laurels has always been the bane of Earth's existence.
Yeah, that Scythe making the Equilynx a 6/6 here. Very large, but certainly not unoutable. Pretty much kind of do or die here. Need to out this Equilynx as quick as possible. That would take a ton of spirits off of CJM's board, but Wren is going to expend to draw here, set a back row, set 2 back row, and put Smoltuga to defense position, and likely pass on over to CJM.
Wow. You know, the defensive force of the Smoltuga will be nice for 1 turn, but hopefully his back row can put in a little bit of work. Equilynx is going to be able to Nexus here and do some shenanigans to take out potentially another Shield of Achilles. Maybe the cards in the back row or something chainable that you can help at least defend a little bit from this Equilynx. Looks like CJM is going to be considering Nexusing off of the Scythe of the Meter to the Lynx.
Interesting. That's
maybe something like a fully forest here or something.
I'd be surprised if Wren doesn't have Gorgon here. Yeah. I wouldn't imagine that they would be playing 2 face down without a Gorgon's Gaze there.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth the Gorgon's Gaze, by the way. Was it a 4 Spirit Equilynx?
Yes, that is a 4. It was 2 spirits before the Scythe, and there were 2 spirits under Scythe. Looks like actually an Ambro here? Yes, get an Ambro down from CJM using the spirit off of the Equilynx. Something that you can do in the game of Elestrals is you can play your invoke runes and your counter runes using spirits that are already on your board, taking an action that's colloquially known as siphoning. You take a spirit from something on board and play it under an invoke or a counter rune. Those are the only runes that you're allowed to do that with. But a very, very solid play here from CJM. Don't want to commit too many spirits to this Equilynx and get punished too hard by something like a resting on Laurels. A very interesting play to out their own Scythe here, because Equilynx being a 6/6 puts Wren in a lot of trouble, and CJM going to expend a draw here, actually. Very interesting decision.
You know, I don't know if you feel too bad about that expend to draw. I mean, you have this big Equilynx that Wren still has to get over and try to contest with 1 back row, which could, again, be another Argo to combat any sort of offensive aggression.
Is this Blizzard? It's Blizzard! That back row doesn't mean anything! It can't be chained!
Whoa, we just were mentioning Thunderstorm here in a shield. It's never resolving.
Galaxy is an insane play right here.
It's never resolving. Shield of Achilles goes down, not even chainable to the Blizzard by its own effect. Looks like that Nectar's gonna come down.
An Earthseer! It's Bears! It's Bears! No way!
The Bears.
Bears!
Love it. You know, we were talking about this in Coder's run with Bears yesterday. Maybe Wren can make some magic happen and emulate that same success.
This is about
We
to
see
be brutal.
A swing in and a don't poke. Look
It's a
how
don't poke.
casually
Casual
flipping that
don't
up.
poke. Not
Enchant the
even a
don't
problem.
poke. Make this tiny baby bear a huge force to be reckoned with, taking out the Echolinks, procting the Urseer here. Electing to keep the small Tuga in defense, by the way. I kind of want to keep a good note on this, as that's a good defensive option just in case this active aggression doesn't quite go through. You go for an Abominursa having a large body on the board, boosting up this bear to a big 5.
It's a big bear. That bear's only getting bigger.
Frosty bear. Oh, wow. Going for an attack mode. Abominursa. I'm swapping up my Ursas here. Doing a little bit of chip damage here.
You know, CJM is a little behind in card advantage, certainly behind Arcolith. Arcolith! You can never play around it. You have to always play around it.
There's 3 things inevitable in this world, and one of them is Arcolith. That is wild. You know, I don't think I would have expected that. Talk about a jump scare. This Arcolith on a free back row, by the way, from Wren. There's nothing here to protect these little baby bears, and this Arcolith's gonna go in for insane damage here.
Wow.
4 spirit damage.
4 over the Urseer is very interesting. Going to lower that Abominursa down to only a 3 attack stat. It'll be very interesting to see how Wren is going to try and handle this position. Outing a 6 attacker with bears is not an impossible task, but it's something that usually is necessitated off of the back of some back row. And with no back row set, looks like they're playing out an Astra, but they're going to be digging for that back row to try and out this Arcolith. If they see a don't poke in the top 3 here, that Abominursa gets very scary to swing into for CJM. The question is, will they be playing around the don't poke?
I can't imagine what's going through Wren's mind. I'm playing against Earth, and Arcolith gets dropped on me. I mean, we've seen some innovations before, but I think that Abominursa is going to be flipped to defense, and that might signal not having don't poke at the top.
Yeah.
No back row. No back row again, going full defense here, trying to buy some time for potentially even like an Earthquake or some sort of out to this Arcolith. And Arcolith swinging the tide of the game here. We might see a quick game 1 similar to MBT's round. And that is quite definitive.
This is the kind of thing that is very hard to play around if you're Wren. You see Echolinks, you see Argo, you're assuming this is some sort of Artifact Nexus variant likely. Then Arcolith is not something that's standard in these lists. So seeing this drop down is an absolute jump scare.
In the game 1 especially, you know, you typically are seeing this Arcolith sort of play in a sideboard. Just if your opponent's being particularly aggressive, and it just turns out that the bears love to be aggressive. You know, that play with Urseer, it was almost perfect. You know, we have a lot to be said about what bears want to do, and don't poke Urseer is about the combo you want. And Arcolith coming down is pretty devastating. Wren's going to draw for turn here. Let's see if there's an answer to this big body. With 1 back row set, by the way, that back row might also still be scary. Ambrosia.
Ambrosia is so needed. So needed. This is Wren's way back into the game here. Still a massive spirit differential, but it at least gives them options to try and claw back in here. Get exactly the cards that they need back into their spirit deck. Out this Arcolith, sitting at a 6/4. It's unlikely that CJM is going to be running Mount Olympus here, so that Arcolith is unlikely to get much bigger. However, there's definitely a consideration of those 2 extra spirits are just a free Gorgon's Gate, or a partial payment of the a Shield of Achilles, or a poison tipped here as an Ursicle is going to hit the board, and Wren's going to go ahead and search out an Ursa card. If it resolves here, CJM going for the Gorgon's Gaze, as was foretold in the Ancient Scrolls. No Ursa cards are being searched here.
Yeah, Gorgon's Gaze is pretty killer. You know, it's funny because while we were hoping for the Astrap to pick up that don't poke, I think that Ursicle was also really just trying to claw at it and trying to make sure, hey, this is the way I can get back in here. Going for another Thunder Spirit, potentially a Rabbit coming down. A Jolton!
Jolton. I was wrong! They are playing Mount Olympus!
Larger Thunder package inside of the Earth list for the Argo Earth list. Playing Ursa Debt!
Wait a minute!
I know that card!
No way!
You can't. Who put us up to this? Who put us up to Bears v Bear? One specific. This is absolutely killer.
No way.
This is Mother Nexus territory of Clash here. This is what are they cooking? What are they cooking?
This frankly is not too dissimilar to when you were cooking Mother Nexus. I had theorized a sort of artifact Nexus variant with the Ursa Den, and you can disenchant any color up to 4 from, equaling 4 from it, and special cast any Ursa Elestral from your deck. This is a way to just turbo out Majursa or a Glacier Ursa. You know, these massive Elestrals. Glacier Ursa, I think, boasting a 13 attack stat, if I remember correctly. It's like a 13-2?
I think it's a 13-4, so it's not quite able to get hit over by Eddie, per se, which is kind of the main concern, but that's going to be a game 1 going to CJM. Looks like Wren can't quite draw the out there. I think that with in a deck like Bears, you might not want to see a mulligan right off the bat, because you maybe are trying to fish for, so to speak, as a small tuba comes down, turtle for, a don't poke the bear right off the bat, because that is an immediate tempo swing that you can utilize to put on some early game pressure. Go ahead and search the Ursier with that small Tuga.
An open of Echolinks for CJM is absolutely killer here. Would just be such an incredible play to be able to kick that off. If you've got a Demeter in hand as well, that means that you can just immediately start sniping back row. You can hit over the small Tuga, just deal insane amounts of damage. Looks like CJM is expending to draw, setting a card, and passing. This is exactly what Wren wants to see. Now, there's definitely consideration to play around the Arcolith. Now, do we feel too bad about Arcolith being dropped this early? Maybe not.
I think with 3 back row sitting pretty, you're absolutely correct. Like Arcolith and the combo here, if I'm putting out my competitive player brain and projecting a little bit, is Arcolith enchant the Ursa Den. Rabbit coming down to potentially set different pace, allowing to gather more resources. Maybe looking to get this combo off again. You know, see what CJM elects to do. A billion cards in hand. Rabbit has 1 set. Pass. See what Wren has. Draw for turn.
Yeah, it's something like 7 cards on CJM's side to potentially 4 now, I believe, in Wren's hand as they cast out an Ursier here. The question is, do they have Don't Poke set, and are they looking to use it into this Astrabbit to try and put some real pressure on board here? Then the additional question is, are we going to play that Ursa Elestral if this attack connects in attack position and risk the Arcolith?
1 Don't Poke for this turn, and 1 Don't Poke for the next turn. So Don't Poke number 1 coming down.
Yeah.
Let's see if my prediction's right here, because we have Astrabbit going down, Ursier connecting, and potentially getting out another big body. I don't know if it would be necessarily an Abominursa, but another Ursier would also be kind of crazy. Full board, full hearts. We're going to go for an Abominursa here, going for the big Yeti bear. These
are both Elestrals that now can out the Arcolith if CGM chooses to swing into a Don't Poke here. So they're very much going to have to run the math of, is it worth it if this is what they've got? You know, Don't Poke giving an Ursa Elestral +4/+4 attack and defense until the end phase allows this Ursier to out Arcolith. There's the Arcolith, though.
Arcolith coming down.
The board here.
No enchant onto an Ursa Den, so no fear of the Mama Bear coming down. But will we see a Gorgon's Gaze potentially? I'm saying that's good to go.
Okay, that will resolve. Potentially? Oh no, we're still thinking. Finger tap
here.
And that's
a poison tipped arrow.
Arrowed. Okay, so this is going to necessitate essentially a swing over the Ursier for 4 damage, which is a lot. But this Arcolith is going to be taken down at the end of this turn. Oh, it looks like an Earthquake might be coming out here. No, that's a Demeter! Demeter to buff the Arcolith back up to a 7 now would allow it to swing and crash with a Don't Poke Ursier, still dealing an insane amount of damage.
That would be pretty costly here. I mean, I don't imagine that a crash would feel particularly very good from either side. I think that you'd be taking a lot of spirit damage if you're Wren, you'd be losing the Arcolith if you're CJM, and you have to activate the Don't Poke, which then gets you still an Elestral with Ursier's effect and pop off. So I'm curious to see how this play works out. We were talking about some good technical play in between rounds. It's the exact moment these players are going to have to decide. A Gorgon's Gaze to stop
the attack. This might indicate an Earthquake in hand from Wren's side, or some sort of way to
PTA.
Oh, that's right. We have PTA and end phase.
Yep, PTA and end phase. Again, still costly, but you don't take the extra spirit damage. So you are you're still taking about 5 spirit damage there, right? PTA plus the 2 for the expend, and Gorgon's Gaze for 5. That's still quite a bit of spirits left. That spirit differential does not feel good, but Bears really love this tempo gain. If you're able to set up another Don't Poke here, you're in the driver's seat, allowing exactly 1 Elestral per. Wren is really considering playing that Arcolith again. Playing it harder.
We're continuing to play into it regardless. We're going to punch for 2 damage. Interesting decision to not swap the Smoltuga. I can understand the hesitation, as basically any Elestral can out it. But at the same time, I think that Wren maybe wants to be pushing for more damage here, as opposed to playing conservatively. Unless there's some sort of like Ascension strategy possible with this Smoltuga. Very interesting turn from Wren's side. They still do have that 1 set rune, which is likely going to be something absolutely killer here. You hope, if you're Wren, you hope it's killer, because CJM otherwise could really easily take control of this game. Earth Elestral coming down. It is a Viserys.
Wow, 2 different pronunciations in the exact same. I love this card here from CJM because it's not a hard commit like it would be for an Arcolith to come down. And you don't necessarily have to worry about that massive spirit loss with the 2. I think this Viserys being boosted by the Demeter is just big enough to ward away a Don't Poke, making it an 8 attack body. And that's pretty big. Viserys coming down. You say, if Ursir can do it, I can do it too. Here's my little insectoid Elestral coming in. Let's see what rarity this one's in. I'm always curious to see what people's rarities of the Viserys are. Stained Glass is the one of choice.
Oh, we're mixing it up.
Tournament pack for this one. I like it.
Now we hop over to Wren here, who's drawing for turn, playing out a Water Elestral. Galaxy potentially coming down could be huge. Eddie, which will swap the attack position Viserys to defense and allow Wren to hit over both of these Elestrals. This is going to be putting a lot of pressure on board into CGM, who will basically have to Gorgon's Gaze this if they want to keep this Viserys around. And there's the Gorgon's Gaze. This will equalize their spirit differential here to both being roughly around 7, if our counts are correct. And that puts Wren in an interesting position here, who now has to decide how they want to play out the rest of this turn. You know, Abominursa will be able to hit over this defense position Viserys. Extra back row from CGM could return this back to the hand, or prevent the attack, depending on what we have. It's a Shield of Achilles, going to cost CGM 2 more, but they're going to keep these 2 6 attack Viseryses on board, which is, this is a massive tempo play for CJM here.
We'll see maybe a Thunder Spirit come down. That's going to be a Rabbit in attack. Ooh, that means that we probably have something to deal with. At least the Eddie and the Smoltuga and these Viseryses, Viserai, if you will. If I'm Wren, an Ursir here would be ideal. I think you use Ursir, pray it connects, hit the Astro Rabbit, and then snowball from there on some level. Otherwise, we're going to see these come through. This Viserys attack 1 declare into the Smoltuga. It's going to connect. No effect? Question mark? Thinking about the spirit count here going to be 4 to 7. This is a tough choice, I think, because you only have 1 counter room that you can activate after that. Looks like it's going to be a fire enchanted Viserys from the hand. Another mismatch rarity there up in the top corner. Not going to be getting its boosting effect for its attack, but really the concern here when you have 2 big bodies of the other Viserys side.
Playing the Viserys Misenchanted defense, potentially a very dangerous play for CJ here, because an Ursula. No way! Arcolith Part 2!
We've said it once, we've said it before. 3 things are certain in this world, and Arcolith is one of them. Big bad Unk coming down. Beautiful Shattered Star Scorpio art coming down. There might not be a back row in the world that can stop this Unk. And
this could be game winning. If Shield of Achilles is not in the back row, this is potentially game winning. Gorgon's Gaze also does it, but still puts yourself at a very bad position into something like a Tsunami, which bears love to run because they want to hit over things in defense. So Thunderstorm off of the Arcolith, playing conservative here, going to out these back rows. Interesting to see what Wren is targeting here. Gonna be the center back row under Astro, but a CJM.
It's never resolving!
It never resolves! Wren's gonna be feeling incredible here.
Okay, so we've seen 1 shield come down. That's a 2nd shield. If this is 3rd shield,
we're holding the back row. We're considering flipping our extra deck.
Organs here wouldn't feel too bad. It's a tsunami of CJM's own coming down to flip this Arcolith to defense. Saving grace. You know, You had one of the back row that was chainable, and the other one which was Shield of Achilles, which, you know, if you're Wren, you're feeling pretty good about that snipe from the Thunderstorm. I love that play. Now Arcolith is a pretty nice tempo swing here, but CJM with 2 spirits left and a full board with full hearts, can they out this Arcolith supported by 3 back row? With CJM being so low in spirits, this gets really dangerous. A lot of considerations to be made here. Go into an Ascend?
Ascend with 2 fire spirits. Lavalith? Can't
Is
quite
that
see.
Kinleo?
It might be. It's got a 1 defense there. That might be the tournament pack Kinleo there.
I think that's tournament pack Kinleo. Nexus
It looks like
the
we are
fire
nexusing.
to
Wow.
the Viscerus to destroy the Arcolith. What is going on?
This is crazy.
We've got rabbits
The Nexus will happen.
and lions and bears. Oh my!
Oh my.
In CJM's deck here against the
There's the
bears.
Gorgon's Gaze.
There's the Gorgon's
They never
Gorgon's
didn't
Gaze.
have it.
Wren's got Gorgon's Gaze coming down.
Gaze on gaze on gaze.
Stopping this Kinleo. Again, potentially a Tsunami in the back row would be killer here, allowing you for some excellent tempo. 1 spirit from CJM and 2 from Wren. We are down to the absolute wire here in game 2.
Wow. And only 1 spirit, no back row set. Leaving that rabbit in defense position as it should be. Wren counting their spirits there. Looks like they're on 3 spirits here, actually. The Vicerus is going to swing over. It's going to connect. Ooh. Second Vicerus swings with 2 spirits under it. There's 2.
2. 1 spirit left. Draws for
Gaze
turn.
on the Kinleo means it can't attack, and they're
That
going to
game's over.
There. Oh,
Tsunami in hand off the
poison
top.
tip.
Turn with
Devastating.
poison tip.
The
Wow.
Majursa in hand from CJM too.
There's the Mama Bear.
Wow.
Wow. What an incredible matchup here